What's up, Blackfyre fans? Welcome back to the House of Vine podcast and part 3 of the Lord Brynden Rivers Biography series. We ended part 2 with the complete and utter failure of the Second Blackfyre Rebellion, thanks to the heroic acts of Sir Duncan, Aegon V, and the giant host of soldiers that showed up at the gates of Whitewalls. As Hand of the King, Lord Brynden took Daemon Blackfyre II into the realm's custody to make sure Bittersteel and Daemon's younger brothers wouldn't rise up in another rebellion. Here we have Bloodraven explaining to Sir Duncan why keeping Daemon as a prisoner instead of executing him was the better move.
He is marking down the men to die, Dunk realized. "My lord," he said, "we saw the heads outside. Is that Will the fiddler, Daemon? Will you have his head as well?" Lord Bloodraven looked up from his parchment. "That is for King Aerys to decide. But Daemon has 4 younger brothers and sisters as well. Should I be so foolish as to remove his pretty head, his mother will mourn, his friends will curse me for a kinslayer, and Bittersteel will crown his brother Hagon. Dead, young Daemon is a hero. Alive, he is an obstacle in my half-brother's path. He can hardly make a 3rd Blackfyre king whilst the 2nd remains so inconveniently alive."
The idea was, if they kept Daemon alive as a royal prisoner, this would serve as their failsafe. Bittersteel knows that if he were to crown Hagon, Bloodraven would have no choice but to take off Daemon's head. However, there's a slight problem with that logic. Bittersteel did not support Daemon II's claim to the throne, simply by refusing to help young Daemon with his plot at Whitewalls, meaning he probably didn't care what happened if he were to fail. 8 years Daemon II was a hostage in the Red Keep, but finally, in 219 AC, Bittersteel and Hagon, Daemon Blackfyre's 4th son, started another short-lived rebellion. From what Martin has shown us so far, we don't exactly know how Hagon died, except that he was slain treacherously after the last battle. Lord Brynden and Sir Aegor fought again in single combat, this time ending in Bittersteel's capture. He was put in chains and dragged back to the Red Keep at King Aerys' command, even though Prince Aerion Brightflame and Lord Bloodraven both urged that he be executed right then and there, as a way to dispel any future Blackfyre ambitions. Bittersteel was tried in the Red Keep and found guilty of high treason, but in place of a beheading, Aerys gave him the choice to opt out, taking the Black instead. However, Bittersteel would never reach the wall, for the ship he was on was taken in the narrow sea by Blackfyre supporters. With Sir Aegor rescued, the exiled knight made his way back to Essos to place a crown on Hagon's son, Daemon III. In 221 AC, King Aerys, first of his name, died. His younger brother, Rhaegal, had died in 215 AC, making Rhaegal's son, Aelor, the Prince of Dragonstone and heir apparent. Unfortunately for Aelor, he died 2 years after his father. So, in 217, Aerys made his youngest brother, Maekar, his heir. King Maekar served as Lord of the 7 Kingdoms for 12 years, with his uncle Brynden ruling by his side, retaining his office as Hand of the King. In 233 AC, a rebellious Marcher Lord challenged the Iron Throne. King Maekar rode forth to squash the Peak Uprising, though he died in battle during the Storm of Starpike. With another Targaryen king dead, the problem of succession came into play. The Hand of the King, Lord Bloodraven, called a Great Council, that is, the Great Council of 233, to decide who should rule the 7 Kingdoms. Aenys Blackfyre, 5th son of Daemon the Pretender, wanted to participate in the Great Council, and so Bloodraven promised the boy safe passage across the narrow sea from Tyrosh. This proved to be Aenys' downfall. Upon his arrival to the capital, Lord Bloodraven had him arrested and executed. This one simple act would be Lord Bloodraven's downfall as well. We'll get into that a little later. For now, let's take a trip to A Clash of Kings, Jon chapter 1, to listen in on Lord Commander Mormont and Jon Snow while they talk about Maester Aemon and the issue leading up to the Great Council.
"Blind he may be, but Aemon knows what he's about. Do you know that he might have been king? He told me his father was king, but not... I thought him perhaps a younger son. So he was. His father's father was Daron Targaryen, the second of his name, who brought Dawn into the realm. Part of the pact was that he wed a Dornish princess. She gave him 4 sons. Aemon's father, Maekar, was the youngest of those, and Aemon was his 3rd son. Maester Aemon was named for the Dragon Knight. So he was. Some say Prince Aemon was King Daeron's true father, not Aegon the Unworthy. Be that as it may, our Aemon lacked the Dragon Knight's martial nature. He likes to say he had a slow sword but quick wits. Small wonder his grandfather packed him off to the Citadel. He was 9 or 10, I believe, and 9th or 10th in the line of succession as well. Mormont continued. Aemon was at his books when the eldest of his uncles, the heir apparent, was slain in a tourney mishap. He left 2 sons, but they followed him to the grave not long after, during the great spring sickness. King Daron was also taken. So the crown passed to Daron's 2nd son, Aerys. How long ago was this? Oh, 80 years, or close enough, the old bear said. And no, I still hadn't been born, although Aemon had forged 6 links of his maester's chain by then. Aemon took his vows and left the Citadel to serve at some lordling's court, until his royal uncle died without issue. The Iron Throne passed to the last of King Daeron's 4 sons. That was Maekar, Aemon's father. The new king summoned all his sons to court and would have made Aemon part of his council, but he refused. Instead, he served at the keep of his eldest brother, another Daron. Well, that one died too, leaving only a feeble-witted daughter as heir. Some pox he caught from the whore, I believe. The next brother was Aerion. One night, in his cups, he drank a jar of wildfire, after telling his friends it would transform him into a dragon. But the gods were kind, and it transformed him into a corpse. Not quite a year after, King Maekar died in a battle against an outlaw lord. That was the year of the Great Council, he said. The lords passed over Prince Aerion's infant son and Prince Daeron's daughter, and gave the crown to Aegon. Yes and no. First, they offered it quietly to Aemon, and quietly he refused. The gods meant for him to serve, not to rule, he told them. Well, no sane man wanted any blood of Aerion's on the throne. Daeron's girl was a lackwit, besides being female, so they had no choice but to turn to Aemon's younger brother, Aegon, the 5th of his name. Aegon the Unlikely, they called him, born the 4th son of a 4th son.
So now we reach the reign of Aegon, 5th of his name, Targaryen. It was 233 AC when Aeg was crowned king of Westeros. His first act as Lord Protector of the realm was to have the now former Hand of the King, Lord Brynden, arrested. Bloodraven was tried for the murder of Aenys Blackfyre. I mentioned earlier that it would come back to bite him. Bloodraven claimed that he had sacrificed his honor for the good of the realm, and although most in the kingdom were fine with the death of another Blackfyre pretender, Aegon would not set Lord Bloodraven free. He felt that if he allowed the former Hand's act to go unpunished, it would tarnish the reputation of the Iron Throne. And so, Bloodraven was sentenced to death, but like Bittersteel, he was granted permission to take the Black. Maester Aemon also joined the Night's Watch after refusing to help his brother Aegon rule the 7 kingdoms. Let's head over to A Feast for Crows and listen to the conversation in which Maester Aemon tells Samwell Tarly about his trip north to the Wall.
When last I passed this way, I saw every rock and tree and whitecap, and watched the grey gulls flying in our wake. I was 35, and had been a maester of the chain for 16 years. Aeg wanted me to help him rule, but I knew my place was here. He sent me north aboard the Golden Dragon, and insisted that his friend Sir Duncan see me safe to Eastwatch. And no recruit had arrived at the Wall with so much pomp since Nymeria sent the watch 6 kings in golden fetters. Egg emptied out the dungeons too, so I would not need to say my vows alone. My honor guard, he called them. One was no less a man than Brynden Rivers. Later he was chosen Lord Commander. Bloodraven, said Darien. I know a song about him. 1,000 Eyes and One, it's called.
So that's it for part 3. In our 4th and final video, we'll go over what little information we have of Sir Brynden while serving the Night's Watch. We'll also talk about his disappearance north of the Wall, and then his later reappearance at the end of Dance with Dragons. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to stay updated and be the first to watch newly uploaded videos.